and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, as always, Sejan Sarowick. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing great. I was about to start the show with the sound effect, but it's fine. It's good.
You can start with the sound of it. We're going to do like a wah, wah, wah.
Well, no. That was a good one, though. No. You were, just before we started recording, a little peek behind the curtain. Devon was discussing today's topics, and I very quickly wanted to start the show with a
Oh, I thought you were going to do
Also good. Also when good.
Also, just my favorite, based upon what we're probably going to be talking about in a minute. Sliders.
That last one, for the record, did not count as a sound effect. Yes.
It kind of does.
It's a sound bite, right?
Yeah, I don't know. What is it like? It's like Sliders is like.
No, I think that's Inception. No, Inception.
No, Inception's definitely bassier.
The listeners love this part.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Say Report. I did say that I was going to alienate you and all of our fans in the first minute, so...
You did also warn me of that. However, this cannot possibly be what you meant.
No. What I meant was, I'm just going to lead off by saying I'm a fucking pussy, and I could not bring myself to drive out to Ohio last week. So very sorry that we're still going to work on some special episodes, but all that stuff that I promised in fandoms, nothing but fandoms, or as I should say, fandoms, nothing but fandoms.
Is that what today's episode? Today's episode is the sound episode, everybody. So crank up those car radios. Let's do this.
Hey, we're gonna wake you up with our noises and stuff. But no,
so welcome to the morning radio show.
Waka waka. Ring. All right.
Dog fart. Anyway.
That's. I can do a cowbell too, but like you have to do the all of time has come. Wow, I'm happy with this. This is a lot of B-side, but we're starting the episode with it. Hi, welcome to the Say Report. I'm Devon Decker.
I'm Sejan Sarowick, and that does... Anyway, I'm not going to argue about B-side and A-side right now, but yes, welcome to the Say Report, people. We have severely... We've been missing each other, clearly, which is what this is all about.
Yeah, we've missed each other, and also I'm in, like, the best mood ever right now.
And I am in the worst mood ever right now, but continue with your happy sunshine day.
Yeah, don't make me do it. Like, now I just want to sing the Brady Bunch. But what it is so I didn't get to go see Sejan, and that really bummed me out and everything.
I was going to say, is that why you're having the best day?
No. I'm having the best day because right now it's really only 7:52, not 8:52. I fucking love daylight savings time. Little secret about me. I
kind of land in the camp of people that believe that we should just get rid of it.
Well, yeah, you're not a farmer, so it makes sense.
I mean... I also get why we still do it and like actually don't care. So like I'll never fight anybody on it, but there are people out there that will fight you.
You know what the biggest problem is with it is that when can we discontinue it? Like right now, if we discontinued it, we'd be up an hour, or if we discontinue it once we fall back, we'll be down an hour. Like we'll never be able to regain equilibrium.
No. We backed ourselves into a corner and now we're stuck in limbo.
Thanks, limbo. Trump. Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, but before we get into the episode proper, I would like to say, hi, President Trump. That's from my Uncle Tim. He told me to say hi to President Trump today.
Because he knows that Trump listens to all forms of social media, including podcasts, so he knows that he's getting this.
You know what, though? Like, and he must like us, too, because we don't have a bunch of rants from Trump on Twitter about how bad we are.
Yeah, so far we're firmly in the camp of...
They're a fabulous show. I would listen to the Say Report.
Pro-Trump, but
they're huge. Trump is pro-us.
Trump is pro-us. We aren't necessarily pro-Trump.
I listen in the shower. It's huge. All right, so what it is...
We've officially done all of the worst things you can do on a podcast. We started off with sound effects, went into really bad president impressions. What can we do next to ruin this show?
I could say the N-word, but I won't.
Oh, there you go. You figured it out. The worst card to play is always the race card.
Except when it's the best card to play, right? The race card is very it's a risky maneuver. Okay, so here's the deal. So I did not go see Sejan last week. I've already said that. Everybody's mad at me for it. Sejan most of all. But it got me thinking. There's a movie called Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. I've never seen this movie, but I own it. I'm looking at the DVD of it right now. And the whole premise of sliding doors is that if she stayed on, or she missed a train, or she got to the train on time, how her life would have been differently.
And they show you the various scenes in which this is the case.
That movie's super confusing too, especially if like you miss that's the conceit of it.
For better reference, just watch one of the latest episodes of Bob's Burgers, simply titled Sliding Bob's, that is about exactly the same thing, and in fact mentions sliding doors in it.
That was sort of the best part about the episode. But yes, or the bowling episode of Malcolm in the Middle is a sliding doors riff.
Or the Dice episode of Community, which is like right now probably the one that all you nerds listen to have seen.
Yes, so there's a lot of alternate timeline exploration, and I've been a big fan ever since the Sliders days. So I got to thinking about how my life would have been different if I had gone to Ohio, because I got into some shit last week. That's just the easiest way to say it.
Okay.
Let me just sum it up as quick as possible. I almost got arrested at a local sports bar on Friday night.
Got to stay away from those sports bars, man.
Sports bar. At least I didn't say Switch Report. Anywho.
This time.
I almost got arrested at a local sports bar on Friday night. And then Saturday night, I dined at a 5-star high-class establishment where I ate a $68 piece of steak.
That's amazing.
Like, that's just like, I feel like that's just the bottom and the top right there.
Well, and what's great about a $68 steak is it's one of the things in the world where you can tell it's a $68 steak, right?
Oh, dude.
Like, there are a lot of things in the world that you could overpay for and never really realize it or care that it was worth it, you know? But a steak is something I'm willing to spend $70 on.
Let me tell you about this steak. It was wet aged, and that's the only reason that I got it. Because I've had dry aged steak. I've never had a steak that was aged in a liquid, and it was aged in whiskey for 30 days.
So, I mean, basically, because it is not a pickle or a brine, you wouldn't call it this, but essentially it's pickled in whiskey.
Yes, it's basically amazing. Pickled in whiskey. There was a bite of steak, Sejum, that was so tender and had such a beautiful aftertaste of whiskey. It may have been the greatest piece of meat I've ever put into my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fucking amazing.
Right. But just in perspective, 12 hours earlier, almost arrested at a sports bar. Right? I just think that, but then I wonder if if I had gone and seen Sejun, would this have been how my weekend turned out?
You would have been arrested at a sports bar to start off with.
I wouldn't have almost been arrested. I would have been arrested.
Definitely. Yeah, no. We would have gotten into some shit too. Because here's what ended up happening with me this week. Absolutely nothing. So, I was so ready to have a visitor. I got my house ready. I had all these plans to go to the local bar. There, I got one.
The bar? Sports bar? Sports bar?
Sports bar.
Jorb. This really is the sound episode. So many apologies, but they're not super sincere because I'm having a good time.
Yeah. But there's a Irish bar in town that's also the sports bar in town, right? And they do trivia 3 nights a week because we're college town, and what's the best way to get dudes drinking is to put them in competition, right? So yeah. So I was gonna drag you to that because, to be honest, we need another pop culture guy because every good bar trivia team is made up of 4 distinct people. You always have the 2 runners that are the 2 good pop culture guys that are gonna probably handle the majority of.
They're your anchors. It's your anchor,
right?
Yeah.
Then you definitely need a specific sports guy. That guy just has to be sports because odds are your pop culture dudes aren't going to be the one, right? So you need that. And then the last thing you need is a wild card, somebody that specializes in something weird, because that wild card will probably never really pick up much of the weight on this, but that one time that they're worth it, right?
Like that time that I had to put 15 Nickelodeon shows in order of first air date, original air date, and I was the only person at the trivia who got that question correct.
Oh yeah,
and let me tell you something. We were in last place going into that round, and we pulled out first because I was able to put all 15 shows in chronological order, and I bid our whole wad on that final round.
No, I used to go with a young lady that specialized for some reason in bodies of water in the Americas. that was like a thing for her.
You know what the weird thing is? Because that's something that you friggin' need if you get on Jeopardy. It's like you need English kings, bodies of water in America, and foods that start with Q.
So in this other scenario, in this sliding door scenario, you would have come to Ohio. We would have gone to this trivia night. It would have probably just been the two of us, which means that we wouldn't have won, which would have led to us getting into fights with people and eventually you being arrested.
You know what the worst part about it is? I also would have gotten highly drunk. At your thing, because if I remember correctly, I have visited Sejan once. I'm not like a total jerk ass. I have been to Ohio. I have seen him, and if he's talking about the same bar that we went to, I drank an 11% APV beer while we were there.
Actually, they have a 13% right now. That is the stout. It's from Sweetwater Brewery. I'm gonna say thank you guys. If I could remember the name of the beer, I'd pitch that too. But yeah, it's a 13%, and they'll only sell you 2 glasses. After that, no more. Yeah, that makes sense because we ordered it, and then the lady, the waitress was like, "No one has ordered this yet, so you guys are the first." and you're with me, who like I can drink, like I'm not to brag, and we were with Will, right, the guy who does our outros. Yeah, we should talk about Will sometime.
Yeah, we should definitely. We were with Will too, so of course he's used to drinking like warm, strong beer because he's from England.
Yeah. So anybody that wonders why we have a Welshman at the end of our show, we do actually know him. we didn't
get him on Fiverr.
Yeah, right. Although I bet you Will would totally do a podcast intro for Fiverr. We should totally
put Will on Fiverr. We get 10%.
We should actually put Will on Fiverr for basically anything. We should whore out Will on Fiverr.
That's a fantastic idea. Will, we're whoring you out on Fiverr. This is your notice. But yeah, so it's like it got me thinking, and then also last week, because I was home and I was having a good time. I still took the days off work. I read an article about how the controversy at the Oscars that La La Land won but then didn't really win, and it was actually Moonlight, is proof to the New Yorker, which is like a real magazine, right? It's not like I can't think. It's not like Mad Magazine, right?
No. The New Yorker is not Mad Magazine. No, I mean the New Yorker is not like the New York Post, right? Like it's like
the New Yorker
or the Daily Post, right? Whichever weird ones are always talking about like prostitutes on the street. You know, they know who they are.
Yeah, you know who you are. The New Yorker had an article about how that is proof that we are living in a computer simulation. And whoever is in charge is like, oh, we're gonna fuck with these people, like the whole thing with how the Cubs finally won, and then like the Patriots were down by so much, and then suddenly the way that they describe it in the article is it's like a 12-year-old handed their father the controller in the game of Madden, and he actually knew how to play. So.
God, that is an amazingly perfect analogy that I would never expect out of the New Yorker.
I know, like it blew my mind. But like, sincerely, people think we're living in the Matrix, and that the proof is stuff like Trump is president. They think that Trump being president, it's like
shit.
It's
you are blowing my mind.
It's like this. It's like if God gave Jesus the keys to the chocolate factory, and God's like,
he's like Jesus' little brother the keys to the chocolate factory.
Does Jesus have a little brother?
Oh, we don't want to get into that.
But like that's like they have this whole thing, and like this is the proof. These are the deja vu moments as alluded to in the Matrix.
Oh my God. Devon, you've convinced me.
I am not trying to convince you, but
you
then
have
like
convinced me.
But then like that feeds into like this whole dual layer life that like I'm living, where like I'm the guy who like didn't get arrested on Friday and was able to eat a $68 piece of meat. Whereas if I'd still be in Ohio, like awaiting some sort of like trial.
Mm-hmm. And we'd be sitting in a prison in Ohio right now, right next to an Ohio lawmaker. If anybody didn't hear about that, a U.S. I'm trying to figure out if it was a state senator or what level of government he was working in. But anyway, found asleep in his car today, passed out drunk from a party last night with a loaded gun next to him in the seat, which for anybody that doesn't know is a felony, which means he can no longer be a senator.
Well, there you go, right?
So like we'd be sitting right next to that dude right now, and we'd be having some weird conversations.
We'd be having the exact same conversations. They just wouldn't be recorded. But then like that goes into the whole Mandela effect, called so because there are people who swear that Nelson Mandela died and they witnessed his death. And that also feeds into like the Berenstain Bears thing, where people thought that they were the Berenstain Bears.
Nelson Mandela is dead by now, right?
I honestly don't know. I didn't fact check that far. I don't know. He was alive for Invictus, so.
Right. Well, yes. If he died, I believe he only died a few years ago because I believe he was alive long enough for Idris Elba, who played him in Mandela, to like have interviews with him.
Yes, it's not.
So,
But he didn't die in the 90s. Like there were people who were convinced that they watched Nelson Mandela die in the 90s.
He did die in 2013, so no, not
okay,
the
yeah.
90s.
So not the 90s. But then there are people who are like, well, like sliding doors, roll the dice, all those things that you referenced earlier that were just flat out fantastic, really. And that just, I never really think about that stuff, but I think about just how differently my 2 weeks could have been had I driven to Ohio and by staying home.
Yeah, man. I really I love that genre of like storytelling. I mean, one of the biggest reasons is because like I'm such a big fan of like character, right, and like story, and the idea of story being dependent on like what these characters would actually do, and all that is like a choose your own adventure of like, all right, let's like really explore what these characters would do in this situation. Like let's change one little factor and see how that makes everybody change, right?
Yeah.
So like the dice rolling episode of Community is perfect. Like you get a little bit something different from every character, and it makes you realize exactly where they land on things in a beautiful way that just solidifies a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Yes,
like,
exactly. That's a great episode of that show. No one's going to disagree with you.
So it was like last week, like your defining moment. Did you start to think about like who you are in the world while you weren't arrested and?
No, but I did learn a very important lesson that I like totally just spearheaded into the ground with this recording of the podcast. Once you're in your 30s, the kind of antics that like made your friends laugh, they don't make your friends laugh anymore.
Surprise!
Because like I haven't related the full story of what happened to me on Friday night, but I did relate it to some people, and they were just like, "That's inexcusable behavior for a grown man," and I'm like, "No, but it was kind of funny."
I have to say, as somebody that is turning 30 this year, I don't know if should I be saying that out to the internet. I don't know, but as somebody that will be turning 30 this year, I've actually felt that way for a couple of years now. Like I will say that for me, and maybe it's different for everybody, but for me, there was definitely a moment when I was like 28 where I looked around and realized that, and I recognized that I was actually late to the party. Where I was like, oh, I probably should have realized this when I was like 25 or 26. That like the things that you're doing. Oh, you're an adult now is essentially the realization, right? Which sucks.
Right, but I mean, I'm a firm believer that your 20s are your new teenage years. So I feel like they do give you to your 30s to like really, but going along with that, being 28 would be when that would make sense to you, and you would have that realization. I guess I just live my life bombastic, crazy, Mama Juke. So I'm like always like, these are fun, these are like antics, and then I'm like, oh, but other people don't think that way, right? Like, this is a fun story to me because, like, I learned from it. I'm never going to do what I did on Friday ever again. Like, I understand that, like, that was the bad way to act, but I feel like the fact that I didn't wind up in chains, that we can laugh about it, right?
No, yeah, right, man. You got to be able to laugh about this stuff, man. In the aftermath, right?
Yeah,
like maybe while you were doing it, maybe you should have been behaving better. But if you're not laughing about it now,
dude, like,
you're hanging out with the wrong people.
In the exact moment afterwards, I'm like, oh, I fucked up. That was not the way to act. And then security showed up, and I'm like, yeah, not the way to act.
I totally get where you're going with the whole sliding doors thing, though, because when I was 16 or 17 years old, I came across this book called Fuzzy Dice, and it's this little fiction story about a dude that gets like abducted by an alien, but they don't go to outer space; they're able to travel through dimensions. So it's like really heavily influenced by like Douglas Adams and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And in it, there's this whole exploration of string theory and parallel universes and all of the stuff that you're talking about, right? And like there's this idea that universes come into play not immediately, but when humans think of them. That's actually one of the questions asked is, can something exist if it hasn't been thought of? And then the problem is the second you think of something, that's it. That ends the query, right? So like so that's one of the questions like addressed in it. And so there's that thought in my head always of like, man, I don't know, like that just felt like an important moment. Let me try and think of all the ways that could have gone so that I can make those universes real. Because even if I'm not the one, you know what I mean? So like I'm at the bar and I get into a fight with a guy, but I don't do anything about it and walk away. In that moment afterwards, I'm just like, all right, I know that was the right thing to do, but what if I had punched that dude? Man, I wanted there to be a universe where I punched that dude in the face.
Yeah, but in that universe where you punch that dude in the face, he's got a glass jaw and he goes down, or you break your hand and then get your ass kicked.
Boom, two universes.
Two universes, right? And it just spirals out of control.
Exactly.
And like
exactly.
it's
and then it just goes on and on and on. Right.
So yeah, so I do wonder what it would have been like, because also like there's a universe where I did not take off those days. I was still in Rhode Island, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to work, right? I'm not gonna waste my vacation days.
Well, there's a universe in which you and I never met. How sad is that?
I don't know. Is it sad? It's sad, right? Well, then, like, I wonder, like, is okay? So here's the thing. Here's the big question. And you know
what
what
you're supposed to say is, there's no universe in which we wouldn't find each other.
There's no universe in which we wouldn't find each other.
No, it doesn't count when I feed you the line. Okay, whatever.
But I said it like real dramatic. Like it's like the episode's about to end, and I'm like, I'll find you. There's no universe in which we don't find one another.
I feel like I should call an adult. Is what I feel like right now.
Don't you dare call an adult. You are an adult. What are you gonna call yourself? But it also stems back to, I think all of this stems back to, of all freaking places, my father, it was my mother and my father asking, if you knew that the baby in your arms was going to grow up to be Hitler, do you kill the baby?
Amazing. The greatest thought question ever, thought experiment ever. Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's weird because it's like, oh, I don't know, like, it's bad. It's real bad what he did. Like, I'm not excusing genocide, but also, like, some things came out of that conflict.
Yes.
That, like, it pushed technology forward.
As on all questions in my life, I eventually turned to Joss Whedon to answer them for me. That's
so good. Happy 20th anniversary, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh,
you my girl, Summers.
On Angel, there's a question like that addressed in the way that the team handles Angel, because for anybody that doesn't know, Angel is a vampire that ends up finding his soul, but he ends up finding his soul, so he decides, because he now understands the difference between bad and good, that he's going to be good, but it means fighting a lot of stuff in him, right? Well, at some point within a 7-year run of 9-year run of that character, they talk about what happens if he loses his soul again, and there's this moment where the team is like, well, then we'll just kill you, right? and so he's just and you know, that's the answer he wants, right? So, like,
yeah, that's what he wants to hear.
Right. So there's that same, for me, whenever somebody asks that question, I land in that same place where I'm just like, oh no, like, I'll back that baby up as long as it does what it's supposed to do as a human, but the second it does something inhuman, then I'll take care of it. Like, don't worry, I'm ready.
Me and the infant Hitler are bonded now.
I mean, if I can imprint on that Hitler and make sure he doesn't go all Hitler, then I will do my best.
Oh, dude. It's just, I don't know. I love thinking about these. They're like such fun thought questions.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, there's all this stuff about different universes. Hey, I'm going to take this opportunity to actually transition, because this is actually a good way to transition.
I was about to, but by all means.
Speaking of multiple universes, we got to talk about some X-Men's.
We have to talk about 2 X-Men's, possibly a third.
Well, yeah, because I got a couple of questions about some X-Men's, because I don't know about you, but I saw that Logan. Did you see that Logan?
I saw that Logan before you saw that Logan.
I know. There's evidence of the last show.
Oh, man. I want to see that Logan again.
Yeah, man. Like, okay, so let's talk.
Oh, wait. Hold up. Spoilers for Logan begin now.
I was really worried. Yeah, so last week you had seen Logan and you had asked me if I had seen it, and I had to bow my head in shame. But I have made up for it since, and I have gone to see it and cannot stop raving about it.
Because it's the okay. Like, as I've said, I'm saying it again, I don't think I'll ever need to see another superhero movie or another X-Men movie, because the expectation is so high after that film that I just feel like I'm setting myself up for disappointment.
There is very few things that I, like, really walk away from criticizing. I think you're right. Like, it's just so well made. For the movie that it is, it's perfectly made. You know, there's a couple of problems that I have in the terms of, like, it's a little convoluted plot wise. Like, there's some things that happen that kind of just happen just because the movie has to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, it's convenient in a couple of areas. Also, and this is actually a trope of westerns. For anybody that doesn't know, it is a western through and through. Like, it's not even hiding that it's a western.
Dude, not only is it not hiding that it's a western, It's Shane. It's a remake of Shane.
Yeah, the last line of the movie is straight out of yeah. So so there's the whole innocent family introduced in the third act that terrible things happen to, like and that happens in westerns, right? And and to be honest, I'm one of those people that watches a western, loves them, but man, 90% of them go on too long. You know what I mean? And that's kind of one of the things that I felt about this one, was there was just a couple of things that I was just like, oh, we're adding a whole other plot now. What are we doing? And it just added 20 minutes to the movie that I didn't need. You know, that sort of stuff.
But in defense of that thing that you were saying did not happen, and then I will let you go back to it. It totally feeds into the fact that they put additives into the food and drinks in order to kill off the mutant population. You would not have, that wouldn't have been as established or as believable if you did not meet this man who is a non-government subsidized farmer. Like, he's not working for the government, he's doing his own thing. So his stuff doesn't have that additive.
Right, which is exactly why they keep cutting the water off to him. Although I think it was also heavily implied that it was a race thing as well. Which
yeah, definitely. Well, if there's no more mutants to hate, Sejin. Yeah, they reset the status quo.
Yeah, one of the right. That ladder just got rebuilt, and guess who's at the bottom of it? So there's just, again, we said spoilers. There is something that I did not know was going to happen that was amazing, and that was Hugh Jackman playing dual roles. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was
like that.
Great.
That came out of nowhere for me.
And you know what was so great? I didn't know it was Hugh Jackman as X-24. Like,
there was a couple of moments where I was like, "Oh, that's just an extra," right? But no, the problem is it's because they made him look amazing as Old Man Logan. Like, they did a perfect job making him Old Man Logan. So when they show him again with basically just no makakeup on, it's like, you're like, that's not him. That's not Hugh Jackman.
That's someone else, right? That's like the guy who's going to play Wolverine now that things are done for Wolverine.
Yeah. If anybody can find it somewhere on like Twitter or something, there's like a 30-second clip of Hugh Jackman doing some ADR work, so like standing at a microphone and grunting for a bit, which is why it got passed around a lot. But it's him in just a t-shirt and sweatpants, right? And that he looks more like X-24 than he does like Logan, right? And you watch that and you're like, oh man, you are this young, good-looking guy. Even though you're not young, you're still it's amazing, because Old Man Logan looks exactly what I thought Hugh Jackman should be looking like by now, you know?
It totally worked. Like, the movement of time to 2029 worked and made it all believable. They built such a good world, but it is such a what-if story, and that is the weirdest thing about it.
Yes. Yeah, there's a couple of issues that I now have, right? And the thing is, I'm happy to resolve these issues simply by ignoring X-Men 3.
I will ignore X-Men 3, and I will ignore X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, X-Men Apocalypse. Oh,
I mean, I'm already ignoring X-Men Apocalypse. Let's just be fucking honest. We already...
Any movie that's about the X-Men team after and including 3 is basically not in my version of the story.
That's fair. I can get behind that.
Like, it basically goes in my head for Hugh Jackman Wolverine. It basically goes X-Men, X2, then jump to the Wolverine and then this, and then Logan.
The only problem with that is that you have to you have to cut out parts of Last Stand.
I will say 45 minutes of so this is 45 minutes of Wolverine Origins. Because the Wolverine, which is a fantastic movie and a step in the right direction, I loved. Wolverine Origins, which we need to make sure we remind everybody are 2 different movies, was fucking horrible.
Yeah, it was garbage. It was garbage.
The first 45 minutes felt amazing.
Dude,
he goes at that helicopter 45 minutes in, destroys it, and you're like, yeah, roll credits. Oh, there's still another half of this movie.
Dude, when he gets on the motorcycle in Wolverine Origins, I am so happy. Because I'm like, he's on a motorcycle, and he's so fucking happy.
They showed in the preview.
I know.
I'm like, yeah, man, that's I know exactly what he's about to do. And you're like, this must be it. This is the big fight. And sure enough, he kills off. Who is his main antagonist up to that point?
Yeah,
he kills that.
Yeah, he kills basically Mr. Sinister, right? I feel like he's Mr. Sinister.
Right, and then that should be the end of the movie. Okay, so we've bitched about this enough. But sorry,
but you also need to add in parts of The Last Stand, because the Wolverine doesn't work if he's not in seclusion because of his guilt over killing Jean Grey.
yes, you do need a little bit of that. You do need that whole moment where he does that, but that could easily be flashback material for another movie. You know what I mean?
I get you. It's just I'm surprised that Jean Grey didn't show up at all in Logan. I'm happy she didn't because it would have slowed the movie down. But
Here's the other
like,
question I have before we go too deep down this road, though. In the Wolverine, I've never been able to figure this out. Why does he suddenly have his memory back?
Because that's awesome that he has his memory back. Shut up. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Can I tell you something about the Wolverine? Now, origins of Dev, right? We have the origins of Siege. Here's some origins of Dev for you. I started podcasting because of the Wolverine. That's how good the Wolverine was.
Yeah.
Dale and I, first of all, I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it.
They did Silver Samurai, and it didn't suck. It was kind of goofy still, which is a lot of that movie's problems, is that as good as it is, it still kind of relies on the Bryan Singer-ness of it all.
Yeah,
but like,
which is a problem.
Which is a problem, which they so got away with Logan, I will say to anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
All gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that still in it, but it wasn't the worst that it could have been, right? Which is a weird thing to say about a movie. But
no, it makes perfect sense. That's a great description of the Wolverine. But I did not want to see the Wolverine. That was a movie that I'm like, I'm going to see it because Dale wants to see it. But I did not want to see that movie at all. And I walked out of it and I'm like, that was fucking awesome. Like, that's what X-Men movies need to be. And we came home, we set up the same computer that I'm recording on now, and we recorded the first podcast ever. And it was me and Dale talking about the Wolverine for 40 minutes. It was good times. Hello? Siegen. I think I lost Siegen, which is a disappointment.
Oh, no, sorry. My mute button hit because I was just having some thoughts and feelings. I have been like talking along with you for the last 2 minutes, thinking that we were talking.
Oh, okay. So if try to fill in the blanks. So I saw the Wolverine, and it's like, this is what superhero movie should be. Dale and I came home. I set up the same computer that I'm recording on now. And we recorded...
and that's awesome, right? Like, that was exactly the kind of moment for me where I was like, oh, they can make an X-Men movie, right? Like, I was really worried for a while. And so it changed the way that I looked at the way that anybody outside of Marvel could handle things, right? Because that's the the other big thing about all of this stuff going on with this, and then Deadpool's included in this too as well. But like, successful movies about superheroes not being made by Disney Marvel are not easy to find, right? And I think the only ones you can point to right now are kind of these last couple of Fox successes. I mean,
like, once Marvel came onto the screen, right? Because we're like, beginning after Iron Man, AI.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is, if you want to find anything good that's not Disney Marvel, you kind of just have to go back, right?
Yeah, you have to watch Blade. The Blade movies are fantastic.
The Blade movies are actually super well done, and to a point where there's no reason why they could not be included in this universe. Like, if they had Wesley Snipes show up as Blade someday, even just for a cameo, that'd be kind of cool.
I'd be all about it. I want it to happen so bad.
There's no reason. I mean, hell, he's even making movies again, right? I'm sure he'd be glad to do it. More taxes for him to not pay.
Thank you. But yeah, but would he get in trouble now that our president also doesn't pay his taxes?
Oh, God.
Yeah, right. Like, it's just all fucking done today, right? Like, we burnt it to the ground.
It down. Yeah, right.
8 episodes, burned it to the ground. The Say Report.
Oh man. Yeah, I would love to see some of that stuff going on too. But like, so you look at Fox and you see kind of the duds that Paramount had put out recently, and that Fox hasn't been firing on all cylinders except for like these last 2, which have been kind of really good, and fingers crossed for some stuff in the future. But like, I'm happy to see that somebody besides Disney Marvel can make these kinds of movies, because I love Marvel movies, but that can't be the only, like, we will not survive as fans if those are the only ones being made.
The big problem is, no offense to Marvel, I love these Marvel films. They're so friggin' formulaic that it's exhausting. Like, Age of Ultron was so by the numbers that I'm just like, it wasn't even fun. Like, we left the theater and we're just like, okay, so what was that? What was that film?
I'm gonna defend this a little bit and just say that, like, when it comes to Avengers movies, especially, like, we're not talking like, when I go to an Avengers movie, or even Civil War kind of falls into this now, because it basically was an Avengers film, right?
Yes, it was.
I want the popcorn blockbuster. If I want like the character driven drama that isn't formulaic, I'll look to some of their smaller films. And you end up with like weird stuff like Ant-Man, which had a formula to it, but they definitely goofed.
No, that movie was great. Ant-Man is fantastic.
Right.
I was Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are two that were able to break through a formula and were a lot of fun. It's why I'm excited for Volume 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. So, like, that's kind of what I wanted from Age of Ultron. So that's what I'll say about that. But you're not wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong that stuff was there. It's just that as somebody that wanted that, I was very happy with that being in there. You know, like I wanted the basically the Chekhov's the Chekhov's Paul Bettany. I don't know how you put it.
Chekhov's android.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what to put at the end of that, but like
Chekhov's vision, right? Let's just fuck it.
Yeah, so like I'm ready for all of that.
And I understand it. It's just I think Dale put it the best is that like there's no denying they're fun movies, but the scripts are a little by the book, and I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. And I have fun seeing them.
Comic book.
Oh,
okay,
fuck
sorry.
you!
You're
proud of that.
Keep rolling. Keep it going.
But yeah, it's and that's why it's exciting and it's refreshing. Like even First Class, I love First Class.
Oh,
I think X-Men First Class was a fantastic film.
Yeah, I love First Class, and I should point out that the reason it wasn't brought up earlier is because I was saying, like, you know, like,
dude,
it's not named
Hugh Jackman's cameo in that one is so fantastic.
That might be the perfect reason to actually include it, right? Because it is so perfect. So like, so First Class is so good. It's just that they did this amazing thing where in that moment they pay homage to the Singer stuff, but they were just like, this is not Singer's universe anymore. And that was great as a fan to be like, all right, yeah, let's see some new X-Men stuff. And then to bring him back and have him just do basically a lot of the problems that I have with him.
Yeah,
a lot of the problems I have with him are the same problems I have with Joel Schumacher. So if you look at Batman Forever and Batman and Robin,
nice.
Eerily similar to a lot of the stuff that happened with like X3 and and I know that Singer was involved before X3, but like this is what happens when the reins are off essesentially, right? And he just gets to do whatever he wants.
But didn't Brett Ratner do X3?
Yeah, with Singer,
the Singer was like in his ear,
but, like,
yeah,
right, but yes, but Brett Ratner, who's basically like Singer light in a lot of ways. I mean,
no, definitely. It's like how Zack Snyder didn't direct Suicide Squad, but it still feels like he did.
Yeah, it feels like a Zack Snyder movie, top to bottom, right?
Yeah, all over.
Yeah, so there's First Class is amazing.
Yeah, First Class is great. I think First Class is good. But then, like, when you try to reconcile this fantastic universe that feels like its own with these ones that came before, that's why Days of Future Past, like, it didn't stick with me in the ways that it should have.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then Apocalypse. And here's what I'm going to bring up. Here's my big problem with Logan. And this is like small, like in the grand scheme of things. Caliban is there, right? I love Caliban. And I see him and I'm like, I think that's Caliban. And then Dale leans over and she goes, who's that supposed to be? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Caliban. But you know who was fucking terrible in X-Men Apocalypse? Caliban. Because he was like, oh, talking in third person and very sure of himself. And I'm like, yes, that Caliban exists in the comics. I've seen that type of character exist. But like, it was so difficult for me to reconcile that the last X-Men movie had Caliban and he was like that character to what Stephen Merchant brought to the table.
I was going to say, Merchant didn't play him in right? Because I even forgot that and forgive me for...
No, you could, dude. The perfect one-word review of X-Men Apocalypse is forgettable.
Yeah, I just straight up forgot that character was even in that. So like, I was so excited to see him in this one because I like the character, and the thing that they kind of explore with him is that he's kind of on the sidelines of everything. Like, that's a big thing with him. He ends up being roped in with a lot of the villain groups from time to time, specifically because of the stuff that happens in Logan, right? Where he ends up kind of getting forced into things.
Yeah, his power is just so useful. It's such a useful ability, but not for any sort of offensive and not even defensive. Right. It's like such a great support power to be able to track people. Character. And it's like...
And so both sides want him, right?
Yeah.
And like...
Morlocks want him so that they can find people. Or like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants want to find mutants so that they can recruit them. Like, he's always caught in the middle, which is why it was good to see him in that role. And it would make sense that, like, if Logan offers him an escape, yeah, I'm going to go. You want me to take care of the crazy psychic?
So, like,
yeah, I'm there.
It was cool knowing that character's history and seeing him helping Logan, and, like, also really great moment when he tries to actually, like, literally help Logan, and Logan's just like, fuck off, right? And, like, that moment was beautiful because it was both of those characters as I know them behaving exactly as I expected to behave, and, like, it was a beautiful moment as a fan to see something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you know, also fuck HBO on this one thing. Usually I love you, home box office, all right? I do love you, but to put X-Men Apocalypse as the Saturday new release movie the same weekend as Logan, that was a misstep. Because I watched it and I'm just like, oh yeah, this movie's terrible. Yeah. Because I just saw that movie and this movie is bad.
I mean, I guess because in the grand scheme of things, that is how people think about these movies, right? I have to remind myself that I live in a nerd bubble sometimes because, like, to me, the prequel to Logan is the Wolverine. Like, that's...
Right, without question. Even, like, I mean, in Apocalypse, do you remember where Logan showed up in Apocalypse? Or was that also forgettable?
Yeah, I don't remember much about Apocalypse because, to be honest, I didn't want to be watching it. I was only watching it to, like, check it off on
a box, right? I understand where you're coming from. So, I mean... arguably, it's one of the greatest scenes in the film, and it's when they go to Alkali Lake and they free Weapon X. They free him. So he's got the iconic, like, the headpiece is over his head, and he's naked, except for the loincloth, and he just tears through all these soldiers. And it's this moment in the movie where you're like, you didn't really earn this moment, because this is not anything that you've been doing, Apocalypse.
No, and you know, part of that though is Jackman, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah, like, totally. Like
he comes in, he knows the character and knows exactly how that character should be played. You don't change that, right? So he just goes and does his thing and ends up stealing a scene of the movie because of it, right?
With zero words. It is all action.
Yeah. Which is exactly what happens in First Class, is he steals that entire montage of them going searching because he does exactly what we know that character would do. It's so good.
And then he stands out the whole of Days of Future Past because he is playing a character that he is so comfortable in the skin of, and it's just like, it's, I don't know, it's like when a community theater group has like a big name actor or actress in it, and you're just like, oh, he's acting circles around these people.
Yeah, and it's kind of making everybody else look bad. And it's not, you know, it's like, it's none of their faults because, like, they're just, you're talking about a group of people that have kind of just come into these roles versus him who's been playing it now for 15 years, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but, like, it's the thing, and, like, and it sets it up nice. Like, X-Men Apocalypse, that's the one thing they did, is they did a good Wolverine thing, but you're right. But also, it doesn't feel like Logan is a follow-up to the Wolverine. And here's the coolest thing about Logan. It is so standalone. And it is only enhanced by the other movies. But I feel like if you had never seen one, you're still getting a really, really good story.
Oh, for sure. No. You like they are setting up a really good sci-fi story. So you don't even have to be an X-Men fan for this one because it's in a world, and they do this on purpose, but it's in a world so barren of any of that mythology.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know
what
right. I mean?
100%.
You don't need any of it. So you can go to it and don't even think about it as an X-Men movie. Just watch it as a weird sci-fi Western, and it has it works, right? All the stuff about the cloning falls into, like, works really well. You just kind of have to understand that there's this background that there used to be mutants, but there aren't anymore. So,
but I think they do a very good job establishing that. And here's what it is. My mother saw Civil War, and she was bored because she had not seen the 12 movies that, like, you needed to see before you saw it. Like, she saw Iron Man, and that's it. My mother saw Iron Man. She didn't see any other movie.
Okay. Yep.
And then she's like, I want to see Civil War. And I'm like, you sure? Because you saw Iron Man. Things have changed. She's like, no, I want to see it. And then we saw it, and she's like, that was super boring. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I imagine that it was. Oh, she saw Ant-Man, too. I got to say that she saw Ant-Man.
Oh, that's great for that 10-minute scene.
So she saw Iron Man, Ant-Man, Captain America, Civil War. And like, yeah, no, you're gonna feel a little out of place, and you're gonna feel a little lost and bored because that movie was so fueled by all the films that came before it.
Oh
and
yeah.
and I mean, like, granted, I've seen all the movies that lead up to it, but I find it hard to believe that Logan will have that same effect. And bonus, my mother wants to go see Logan. So we're gonna see Logan, and I'll get to see if she is informed by the fact that, because I don't think she's seen any X-Men movies.
Man, yeah, we should definitely talk about how her feelings on it then, because I am right there with you, man. I don't think that you need anything to go into that movie. You just need to be ready to. It's heavy. You need to be ready for a heavy movie. But other than that,
I cried
like,
the
enjoy
entire
yourself.
time. I'm not ashamed to say that.
I will say that it started right about the time that shit goes down in the farmhouse with Patrick Stewart. So basically, from that point on, I was pretty much there. I was like, "Oh, this is great. Everything that's going to happen at this point is going to make me want to cry in some way."
Yeah.
So yeah.
There you go. All right. So I feel like we've done it. We both loved Logan. If you still haven't seen Logan, and all of, we kind of spoiled a little bit, but I don't think we didn't go as deep as we could have gone, right?
No, not at all.
At all. So if this made you give you any, go see Logan. Go see freaking Logan. First of all, it's great that Kong Skull Island dethroned it. Like, good for that, because I want that movie to succeed. Because I wanted that movie to succeed. But,
Yeah, we'll have to have a retro on that too, because I've heard some unfortunate things about the budget for that movie that I don't think it's going to be considered a success.
No,
like, as good as it may
not.
be, they kind of fucked themselves by.
Yeah, I
blowing
haven't. I didn't
$500
get.
million
I didn't get
on
a
the
chance
movie,
to see
so,
it, unfortunately.
So we should check it out, because by all accounts, people are enjoying it while they see it. So I don't know if I'll say that they think it's good, but people have definitely been having a good
My
time.
aunt loved it. My aunt would not shut up about it on Saturday.
Good. Well, we'll definitely
So-
have to check it out then.
So yeah, so that's in it. But okay, so here's the question that I have for you. In last week's episode, I talked about there was a very low bar that I needed Logan to clear for me, and it did that, and that is why I think I loved the film. What do you think that bar was, Siege?
Oh, I don't know. At some point, people had to actually be violently killed by Wolverine. I don't like what.
No, that's not it at all. Logan called Charles Xavier Chuck. And that is it. And that is all I needed. Because X-Men 2, the video game, still don't really like the movie, but the video game where you played as Wolverine and did a bunch of old Wolverine comic book missions, but in that world, all he ever did in the narration was call him Chuck. And we thought it was hilarious, right? Like, oh, like, Chuck, who the fuck are you? But then, like, you think about it, they're two old dudes, and they're real comfortable with each other.
Oh, that's one of the weird things you need to remember while you watch Logan. By movie lore, Logan is older than Charles.
Yeah. By
If you,
about
like,
50
if you-
years.
Yeah, so if you include like all of the movies that I very much wanted to ignore, but I mean, if you're gonna look at the Bryan Singer lore and all of that, like, he is 50 years older than Charles Xavier, him and Sabretooth, right?
Yes. They were
And
born
so,
in
like-
1890. So,
Right.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But that's the thing. And then it's just like, yeah, but there's no one else who's going to go up to Charles Xavier and call him Chuck, except for maybe Deadpool. And that's just because he's fully aware that Wolverine has done it and gotten away with it.
And so he knows, even though he won't get away with it, it'll be a good thing for him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, the only other person who would, like...
That's actually really interesting to think about if you actually think about the older movies as well. The idea that not just Charles, but also, what's his name? Magneto there.
Yeah. Eric Lacheur.
Yeah, so if Eric, Charles, and Logan are actually the three old men of the group, and actually viewing it that way is really interesting.
Yeah.
Man, making me think. All right.
Yeah, there you go. And also, just like as a capper, Magneto's a Nazi now? What's that about? Did you see this? Have you heard about this?
I mean, I don't know. There's a ton of weird stuff going on in the universe
dude.
right now.
Oh, but come on. Like, Magneto's whole story is that he survived the Holocaust. He hates
know.
Nazis.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's like when I said there's a bunch of weird stuff, what I meant is there's a bunch of shitty stuff happening in the universe right now that I don't know.
But you know what? Like, and here's the thing. Like, I always try to play devil's advocate with that kind of stuff because there are too many people yelling about how Magneto would never be a Nazi and work for a Hydra. And it's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from with that, right? But also, he survived the Holocaust. There's a real good chance they got into his head. and
Yeah.
they have like influenced all of his actions.
I mean,
Like,
it's the same. It's the same reaction when everybody was like, with Cap suddenly being in Hydra at the beginning of this year too, which was all this exact same conversation, right? Like he fought the Nazis. Why would he? Like he can't possibly be joining Hydra. And then there's a bunch of weird stuff that comes out. I don't necessarily like any of it, but it's all about how he like was
yeah,
brainwashed.
well, he was
right?
brainwashed exactly as a child, and that's the same sort of thing. And I'm like, it's crazy to think that Magneto, whose backstory is Holocaust survivor, and that's why I don't want to be categorized or anything like this because I've seen what happens. Would then be like, yeah, but I'm Hydra through and through. Who cares if they got their start in Nazism? But like, it's almost a little bit more believable to swallow than Captain America because he grew up over there. He grew up in Nazi-occupied Germany. He was in a concentration camp. And, you know, like, this is all like that. But Hitler was into the occult and things like that. So, of course, as shown in First Class, he would try to nurture something like that and turn it into an asset.
Yeah, right.
And all of his, and also for a guy who survived the Holocaust and is all against the genocide of people, Magneto's killed a shit ton of humans.
Yeah.
So it's completely believable, and that's my 2 cents on that one. And I just think it's great because also it's all based on a variant cover, and all of March, so many characters from the Marvel universe were drawn as if they had been bonded with the Venom symbiote. None of that happened, right? So it could just be like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Magneto's dressed as a Hydra agent, and then people will think he's one, and we'll sell more comic books?
Yeah.
Hope your tinfoil hat's on, Siege.
Oh, the tinfoil hat is on, but also my that's still offensive hat is on as well.
Yo, yeah, no.
Let's take this dude that survived the Holocaust and put him in a Nazi uniform. That'll sell more copies. I hate you. I hate you. Yeah, but Marvel has a very terrible history of variant covers going haywire for them, and they need to get a handle on that. That's my 2 cents.
Well, really, they just need to stop variant covers. I mean, it's such a way to inflate the market.
Oh yeah, but you know how much money they make off of that shit? No,
yeah.
Man.
Do they make money off of it? They're the only ones who make money off of it, right? Because collectors don't.
Collectors do as the years pass, but like it takes a while for anything coming out now to be worth anything, and they have there's been an influx, shall we say, over the last little bit that that collectors will never really get to take part in for a while.
That's very true, and I mean it's just I feel like they've created a collecting fervor, and that doesn't really. It doesn't just play out well for collectors. Is sort of how it looks.
And salespeople, sure, not collectors, right? But like the other thing you got to think about for Marvel is that it's also not just covers that they get to sell anymore, though, right? Because those variant covers then get to become statues, then we get to become posters, then get to become pops, right? Funko Pops.
Yeah,
so
you're right. I mean, it's all marketing.
So it gets to become its a whole other thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't love to toot our own horn on the Say Report, but if ever there was an episode that proved that this is a show about everything, this is the one. Because we started making freaking sound effects. Talked about like sliding doors and alternate timelines, got into a pretty deep review of Logan, and now we're discussing marketing, right? The Say Report. Everybody out there, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Yes. We honestly do. Also, one last thing regarding comic books. Do you remember Spider-Man and the Black Cat as written by Kevin Smith?
Oh, yes.
And how it started out as like a pretty fun team up, and then it turned into like a rape PSA.
Yeah, it became really weird.
That was weird, right? Like that was weird. But that's Marvel, man. They're doing whatever they want.
Yup.
Oh, geez. So, do you have anything else? Because I feel like we spun our wheels, man.
No, keep your ear to the ground because we do want to try and start doing a couple of like very special episodes and things like that. So we'll let you know when that's coming up, but you keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, right. And if you want more information about these special episodes that we're working on, find us on Facebook. Just search The Say Report. We're also on Twitter at The Say Report. I mean, Will's going to say that a little bit further down the line. But yeah, like it all exists. Like we're out there. So if you're interested in finding out more about us, do that. And feel free to also shoot us an email at thesayreport@gmail.com.
Yo.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to Siegen directly, if you don't want me to get involved in the conversation, he's at Siege versus the World on Twitter.
Woohoo! And Devon is at Devon D. Decker.
Yes, so there you go, right?
Boom.
That's it. Thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate you. And Siegen, anything before we hand it off to Will?
I don't have a good sound effect for nailed it, so no.
All right, then take it away, Welshman.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Siegen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.